Her family has been struggling so much to find answers, and they have been met with lies after lies after lies from a lot of people that proclaim to be this young lady's friends. So
this is Leila Santanello. She has been missing since June 27th, 2023, and she disappeared from Kingsport, Tennessee. Chronicles of Olivia and I went out to Kingsport, Tennessee on several different trips, searching for Leila Santanello or any information leading to her whereabouts. These are my thoughts on this case.
Well, I have to be honest with you. I was hoping by now we would have found Leila. So this has been very hard. You know, we want to bring her home. We want to make sure that her family knows what happened to her, I think is really the most important. Her family has been struggling so much to find answers, and they have been met with lies after lies after lies from a lot of people that proclaim to be this young lady's friends. Just like to speak to them just for a moment and just say, if you know something, say something, because her life does matter. For the family members of these people that know what happened to her, it could have been your daughter. It could have been your granddaughter. You need to ask them to stand up and speak up.
Hi, Bullhorn Betty. Thank you for my shirt. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Kids Club.
From the East Coast to the West Coast, we are everywhere true crime is. We are asking for the public's help. We are searching in the woods. We are doing what it takes here on the Bullhorn Betty channels to find answers to the most alarming cases we have been watching on the news. I can tell you personally that I have traveled this entire country seeking these answers and bringing that content right here to you here on the Bullhorn Betty channels and Bullhorn Betty Crime Stories. We are happy with the work that we've done. We brought many answers to the public, and we have defied mainstream media in our pursuit of the truth in these cases. We will continue to work, we will continue to fight for these victims, and we will continue to tell their stories here on my channels. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty brand of channels and the Coffee Club. Thank you for your love, thank you for your support, and more importantly, thank you for allowing me to bring these victims' stories to each and every one of you, advocating for each of these victims. God bless you. God bless America, and more importantly, God bless our victims. Well, hello, my beautiful people. Sorry it's so dark in here. I feel like it flushes me out when I have the side light on, so I just turn it off because I don't like it. So it is what it is. So just deal with me like this. Deal with me like this. I hope everybody's having a great evening so far. And this is kind of prompted from some work that was done early on that I forgot about and was reminded this afternoon by one of our subscribers. There's too many people in chat right now for me to personally say hello to everybody coming in. So I just want to say thank you for being here to my subscribers, members, and more importantly, my mods that moderate the chat. Thank you guys so much for being here. But this morning I was talking about a camera being potentially on the house. It was on the video that I did on TikTok very early this morning. And it was from a video, and I cautioned everybody about the photo, saying, you know, you just really never know, you know, if something, you know, especially when it's grainy, you know. I always caution people, if I can't source the photo, I always caution people, because this day and age, a lot of people can do some clever stuff with videos and photographs and Photoshop and all the good stuff we see in sometimes in these cases. And I don't think it was like that, but I mean, I really don't know. But either way, one of the subscribers from this channel sent me an email of some Zillow photos of the home and said, no, I don't see any cameras on the outside of the home. And of course, I looked through them, and she's right. The photos that she attached, she screenshotted some and attached them to the emails, and it really didn't produce anything, but it got my gears thinking, and I started diving into this rabbit hole. And I'm like, okay, so we know Sebastian Waindrake Rogers disappeared from his home. We know that we have an independent, verifiable identification of him at the Texas Roadhouse on Sunday, February 25th at 6:30. And we know that by 6:33 the next morning, he was called in missing. So we have 12 hours, almost to a T, 12 hours. So no matter what your theory may be, whether he walked out or he didn't walk out on his own accord, this boy still left this house somehow. And so I don't know what made me go down this rabbit hole. Probably because I haven't looked at these photos in a really long time. Probably because I haven't reviewed my footage in a really long time. And I'm like, okay, he's got to have gotten out of the house. He had to have left the house somehow. No matter what your theory is, he has to leave the house somewhere. He clearly wasn't there by the time law enforcement got there. Okay, to the best of our knowledge and belief, he could not have been there by the time law enforcement got there. So he had to have left the house somewhere and somehow. So now we go back to the beginning of this case where we're listening to all of the news, when this was fresh and they were blaring Eye of the Tiger on the speakers, and everybody, it was just a hot mess express. Everybody was trying to remain calm and trying to keep the community calm while they had this massive, massive surge. But there were a few things that we learned through the commentary from law enforcement or affiliations with law enforcement, the mom, the stepfather, and of course, just the news on the ground at the time. So what we've learned is that there is a neighbor's camera that gets the front of their house, including their front door. So we know that there was no evidence because law enforcement, I think specifically Eric Craddock, stated that there was no video evidence of him leaving the home. I think that came directly from the sheriff. So now we got to look at this a little bit differently. How could he leave the home without hitting any of these cameras? Now, we apply the lights video at some point. But before we get into the lights video, where are the possibilities of this child leaving this home undetected? So I started reviewing some photos. I started reviewing my old footage, and there's a few things that I noticed. So this is from Zillow. I actually think this is from the person's. This was the photos that were sent to me by this individual, just showing that there was no cameras that they could see on these stills of this. I want to make sure I don't dox anybody. Their information. Oh, but before we get started, there is one thing that I did learn. And that is this home is protected by ADT. That was noticeable in the Zillow photos. So it does appear that at least this home had a security system installed in the home and was monitored prior to this family moving in, and it was monitored by ADT. So that's one of the things that I noticed. But getting back to the photos, this actually got me kind of my wheels percolating, and I started looking. And so one of the first things I thought is, which neighbors would have a direct, because we know just about everybody in this concentrated area does have Ring doorbell cameras. We did learn from Jessica Danielle that many of the homes in this community, because you could hear them on dispatch talking to the command saying, we've cleared this house has cameras. We were able to talk to the homeowner, but nothing was on their cameras. And we kept hearing them do this, do this, do this. So as you see, this is the front door. I don't know if you guys can see my cursor, but this is the front door to their neighbor across the street. And it's a direct line to where the gates are on this particular home. And let me get that back here because I think it's this one right here. Is this the one? No, hold on a second. Let me find the one. There it is. So here is the gate, okay? Now, as you can see, this is what got me curious, because you can see that this is hinges right here, and there's hinges right here. So this is actually a gate that opens from both sides. This side here opens, and this side here opens, it appears. It doesn't appear that it's only one gate that swings open, actually both of them. But I actually believe that there was another access point much like this on the other side of the gate. And what I've learned through my research is that is not accurate. So this would have been the only other way out of the backyard, so we would think. And while I was looking through a lot of stuff related to the house, because I received this and it drove me into an absolute rabbit hole, one thing I noticed is that there was no other gate on the side of the house. And again, this is from Google Maps. And I noticed this right here. This right here, if you guys remember in Miss Bobby's interview, she talked about the mom being outside the home and the neighbor helping her look in the crawl space, right? I believe this is the outside crawl space that they're referring to. And then it made me notice that here is the beginning of the culvert. I never noticed this before. And as you can see, right down here is a walk path like next to the fence. Or you can come around here and walk on the grassy knoll over here. I realized that this fence right here, I think, is like maybe 4 feet high. And I was thinking, no matter what your theory is, they could cross this fence even without a gate. If he was leaving, he could leave out of the back of the house and cross through this gate, cross over this gate without any cameras being pointed directly on them, because they have all of these trees and shrubs here that actually block the view. Hold on, where is my view? I don't have it. I'll probably have to turn this one. This is it. So to block the view, if you see this whole tree line here, if you turn the camera, turn the Google Maps around, you'll see that there is literally nothing on the other side of the road that would be a direct shot in that area of any type of camera. This is the area right here that would have the view down that path, and there is no camera there. And the way that this front is for this particular house, this house camera would not be picking up that portion of the view. So the only spot at this home outside of a view of a camera is this side right here. Sorry, I'm taking so long to get back. I got it blown up for you guys. Is this side right here. And if you remember, we had 2 light sources coming from 2 different directions. One may have taken this path down here on the fence, while the other took the pass through here on the knoll. They all come back out to the same, approximately the same area. But I truly do believe that would be the area that would only be obscured by any cameras. No cameras would be pointing on that. And also coming back to this area right here, this would have been obscured. There's a camera that gets this side of the property from across the street. But if you remember, the mom had a work truck. And it's kind of difficult where the work truck might be, because when you look at this screenshot, I know you guys really can't see it that well, but you see the work truck is on the far side, blocking that gate from view of this neighbor's camera over here. This neighbor's camera has the front door that we knew about that was discussed on Smiley's World. But if you see the side of the house, oops, let me remove the banner real quick. Hold on. Sorry about that. But if you look at the side of the house here, there's nothing that's viewing this, because the camera, the door camera right here, is angled right here and getting the whole front of this area here. You guys see what I'm saying? But over here on this side of the house, they have this tree here, which obstructs the view. And they got several trees along the house that were obstructing any type of view from this area over here. And this area over here, there's not a straight shot right here. And for this house down here, it's blocked by the corner of this house. So this would be really the only area that anybody could get out of unobstructed. So I'm looking at this very, very highly. Oh, and here's some shots where you can see, this was one that I did when I was in the community, and when I did the daytime view, and you could clearly see the positioning of the vehicle. And this is the one that Chlamydia did. And as you see, the van's on this side. So we can't determine where the work van was parked at the time of this, the night before. But this gives you a clear idea. But there's still a camera that would most likely pick up some type of shades or shadows or figures walking on the side over here from the camera across the street. And that really does leave me to believe that this is the area where the lights originated from. So we don't know who they were. Many believe one of those lights may have been Sebastian. Some people think that Sebastian was coerced out of the home, and that this was the person that was coercing him out of the home and his flashlight. Some people believe he ran away. This is the path that it appears partially that the dogs had hit on, and I'm going to show Gray Hugh's video in just a second. But I believe one person went across the fence line, and the other person kind of came out on the other side. And that's why we had lights in two separate areas, because it's possible to get to the same spot from both ways. And I thought that that was super important as well. Now, to get on to Gray Hughes, I want you guys to look at the path that is being taken by the dogs. And I have to caution you, I do understand that law enforcement says that there was no hit. It was a false positive. We also know that law enforcement has deceived us before in this case. For whatever reason, they need to deceive the public. I have to think it's to throw a suspect off the trail, potentially. Okay? Now, this is all allegedly, in my opinion. Do your own fact finding. This is the reasons why I'm believing the way I'm believing. This is why I'm showing you my receipts on how my brain got there. Okay. We learned from Miss Bobby that well, I'll get to the car in a second. Let me just show you guys this from Gray Hughes. This is what the stepfather told him was the path of the dog. And again, I want to remind you of where I believe the lights originated from.
Route that the dog took when it had a scent. So I'll put that in here as well. So he said that out the front door.
Look how close that is to the back. How do we know they didn't start back here? And the stepfather intentionally misinformed where they started. We know where the dogs ended because one jumped into the retaining pond. But my problem is with the start point, because as you see, it goes right by the area I believe the lights actually originated from. And again, they could have been on this side. I mean, if the work van was in this position, it could be enough cover to obscure somebody going out of the gates and walking around this way. There is the possibility of that. But again, it's hard to think that no shadows or no figures or no movements were picked up on the Ring doorbell camera right directly across on this side. So that's what led me to believe, to look into this. And I'm going to show you guys something that you're going to be shocked about as well. And this was a change that happened after Sebastian disappeared. And so you guys are going to want to stay tuned for this, because I just showed you there's trees here. Let me show you ground level. Let me find it again. Okay, here we go. Trees. See all these trees obstructing the view? See all these? These right here, these are trees, right? We all agree that these are trees, right? Okay. So we're going to get back to that. Save that note. Save that in your brain about those trees. Save it in your brain what I feel where the lights generated from. And let's get back to Gray Hughes analysis.
It scented Sebastian, and then the dog scented around the house like this, and then back over here where it came out. The dog came out.
And I want to stop it right here, because we're going to hear that we're going to see a vehicle. So I wanted to show you this first, and then we'll get back to Gray. There's the infamous car right there. There's the infamous car right there. See that? It was tilted. I had to straighten it up to get the vehicle. So now you don't see it. Now you see the lights come on. Don't see it? Now you see the lights come on. If you don't know what I'm looking at, right here. Right there. The lights just came on. That's the car. That's the infamous car right there. Right there. So according to Miss Bobby, this car backed up. The light sources came to this car right about here. And we heard it backed up and left the community. But if you listen to how she stated it backed up, it almost implied it backed up this way, reversed this way, and drove this way. So we need to go back and listen to Miss Bobby's analysis of which direction, because there's two ways at this moment into this community. One from the construction site over here, and one from coming from this way down here at the bottom. Okay, so let me back raise up just so you guys can listen to it again from the beginning.
Out the front door, it scented Sebastian. And then the dog scented around the house like this. And then back over here where it came out, the dog came out on, I think it's called Kellen Lane. So it kind of came right in front of that same house that had the fixed light on it. And then he apparently walked this direction. And then right up here on Devon Court, took a right. And then went down this Parkenham Drive. Now, the thing is all this is way more developed at this point.
And
This is a year ago, 4/14/2023. And I think you could actually walk straight through like that. And
I'll have to put I drove all back there and I'm pretty sure I recorded every bit of it. So I'll have to go back and pull my footage and show you guys how much more developed it is. But this, I believe, was done by a vehicle because there was a vehicle right in that area. And the path that we see is coming from the video. Now, this video, I want you guys to pay attention here because this is where one of them is, and it's right on the outskirts of the culvert here. Okay, I want you to pay attention to right up here. See it? It's on the other side. So, and not only that, but you got to look at the angle. I'm wondering if this needs to be modified and angled up just a little bit. But that really is what is driving me to that. And here again is the image of the vehicle right here. And it has, when you blow it up, it has a tiny little dot, a reflection right here. And this is what it looks like when we have it straight up and down. You can see it. Straight up and down. There it is. There's the back of this vehicle. You can almost see. And there's the lone little dot right there. So again, this is kind of where I believe whether he walked out of the house, whether he was carried out of the house, or whether he was coaxed out of the house, this is the only place that has no cameras pointing on it. And as we learned from law enforcement, this child was not picked up on cameras. The closest thing we got is from this house way down here, going this way, that picked up a car right about here, that two light sources that came from this direction went to, and one of those light sources went back toward the house. That's all we have. That's all we have. We don't know if they went to the back of the house. All we know is that they went back inside the house. All we know is they originated somewhere in this area because this is the only place that would have been undetected by any camera. And let me show you guys one other thing that's going to blow your mind just a little bit more. It's the fact that those trees were freshly cut. Those are some freshly cut trees, if I've ever seen freshly cut trees, and that was right before my trip in June. So all the obscuring bushes that would have been there the night of Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers' disappearance have all been cut down, and now no obscured area on the property. And the secret door right there, which Katie was looking into that morning with her neighbor. That is the door right there. That is the what did I call it at the beginning of this? I can't remember. You got to go back to the beginning. I called it, it's something. It's like a place that you store stuff in under the house, the crawl space. There we go, crawl space. There's the crawl space. And I just find it a little interesting that somebody was in here before they left their house. Just a little thing, just from Miss Bobby's. But those right there are freshly cut trees that have been cut completely down and no longer obscure the side of the house, ironically. So there you guys have it. Yeah, it's a crawl space. That's it. What does the door? I don't know. Good question. From what we believe, under the house. Under the house. But again, all of this was obscured the night Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers disappeared. So there's two possibilities of how this young boy left his house. Either on this side, obscured by the trees and no cameras. There's a path that goes right along this fence and a path that goes around the culvert. Those are two options. Well, one option with two sub-options. And then the other option would be this gate right here behind the work truck. Somebody could have opened the gate and walked around here. It would have been a little more risky, especially a kid running away from home. But if the work van was in this position, it would have blocked the camera that could have picked up the movement of opening this side gate and walking around. But I don't see anybody walking in front of this house because, again, we got to go back to Eric Craddock's statement that this child wasn't picked up on any camera. That was what was the most concerning for them, is that this child wasn't picked up on any camera. And I think the only thing that they had was the one trail that went over toward the construction site. So the one camera we have footage from was hardwired. Yes, that's correct. That's correct. It wasn't really on like a blink or anything. It was a fixed camera on the side of the house, and it looks like it had its own. It was one of the older styles before all the digital stuff, so it probably had its own screen and own hard drive inside the home, as opposed to being stored on, say, a cloud or something like that. But I don't know that to be the case. She saw him walk away. Yeah, I don't know. I just know that there's just something not right here. But no matter, I wanted to be fair with this, this presentation. So I know that there are people that believe this child walked out of the house, and there are people like me that do not. But I wanted to give a fair balance, whether this child walked out of the house or not. Where would be the areas that this child could leave the home undetected? There is a secret door at this house, and that is the crawl space. And it was something that we heard the mom was in whenever her neighbor came over, prior to her leaving the house to go toward the school to search for her son. So I just find that odd because, again, none of the cameras would have been able to see what was going on there at the door on that side of the house because of the cameras being obscured by the tree and shrubbery that was there in front of that house. So we know that if Sebastian would have walked out the front door, the neighbor across the street would have picked up something. And I think it was Spirit Seeker Squad that put that, give me just a second and I'll find it, but ended up putting that up and showcasing that statement that was made by the stepfather. But I've got to find my research folder here. Okay. And it was Spirit Seeker Squad or something to that effect. Hold on. Spirit Seeker Squad. Okay, here it is. And I think it was at the 10-minute mark. Trying to see if this is the one or not. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Oh, hold on. Let me I gotta re-add this because I forgot I lost my audio. There we go. And here is the proof right from his own mouth that if somebody came out the front door, they would have been picked up on the camera, and nothing was picked up.
Interview. Roll it.
And not only that, but if somebody had been by the front door, punched in the code, believe it or not, no, it's not super clear, but you would have seen a shadow or a figure.
Yeah, that's what I would think.
Based on, something would have been visible because one of the lights is still visible from that ring camera from across the street.
Yeah. That
has been, like I said, every video, and I've said this through Facebook, everything in the neighborhood. I couldn't talk to you enough positive about my neighborhood because anybody had cameras voluntarily gave up hard drives, flash drives, access to clouds for them. They've let people go in and search their houses multiple times without needing a warrant or a subpoena or anything. They've just openly done it. So, I mean, that's why it's so difficult right now.
I almost forgot.
So there you have it. So if he would have walked out the front door, or, somebody else brought him out the front door, there would have been something picked up on that camera, the Ring doorbell camera across the street. So that's, in my mind, there's no possibility of the child exiting that front door. There has to be an alternative method of his departure from that home. And the only method of departure from that home is the one side of the home that is obscured by any type of camera from the neighbors. This is the only spot, the only side of the house that would be obscured by cameras. And one of the cameras over on this side over here actually picked up light sources coming from the backside of the house. So obviously it's coming from this direction. It seems probable that it would come by the one place that would not have been seen by camera. So this is where I truly believe that this child exited this home, or whatever happened that got this child out of the home to exit the home. It would have had to happen on this side of the house. And this side of the house really doesn't have any easy way of getting out. You have to, scale a small fence. It's 4 foot. It's doable. But this would be the only way unless they went out the gate on the other side of the house and walked to this side of the house. But no way do I believe that anybody, whether an assailant did it or Sebastian did it, would walk in front of this house without being picked up on the Ring doorbell camera that picked up the lights going on and off in his room, and the lights, somebody going through the house to the back of the house, which they, according to Miss Bobby, believe was toward the parents' room, and then the lights going completely out. So a camera that can pick up all that would have picked up motion from the front of the house. So you're only stuck with the sides, which does have an access point from the back side of this house. You walk through the garage or the gates and wrap around into the common area. Or you have to climb over the fence and walk this way. But these are the only two possibilities. And this one's more risky because it lines right up with the front door of this house over here that could potentially pick up movement. So I don't know. I don't know what say you, but that's kind of when I look at this and try to find out the most probable place that would not be picked up by any camera in the community of exiting this home, this is where it leads me. So let me know, how tall is Chris? Great question, Truth in Time. I know he's taller than me. I saw him at court. Here's what it boils down to for me. The Feets left the home when their child is supposedly missing. BS. They know where he is. Crack a cold case. You know, I have those opinions, but whenever I have an opinion, I get arrested in this county. So I'm trying over here. No, I'm just joking. They're not going to take my voice away or my opinion. But I have to concur. I kind of think that's kind of what most of us truly, I think, believe. I mean, there is still people that don't, that they want something more, you know, and I get that. But at the end of the day, this child was sheltered. This child didn't have a lot of screen time on computers. This child, you know, we learned from his father, didn't seem like he was in the best of mood when he left Strikes and Spares. And we learned early on he didn't seem like he was in the best of mood when we learned about the proof of life video that Seth described months ago. And he didn't sound like he was too happy leaving there. So now we know he didn't appear to be too happy from Strikes and Spares and the Roadhouse. So it already says, you know, and many people that have autistic children brought it up many times that autistic children can get overstimulated. And I was very ignorant. I had no idea what overstimulated means. I didn't know how it affected autistic children. I have a good understanding now. And it sounds like when you're exerted and overstimulated, you have meltdowns, you get moody. And it sounds like he was exhibiting some of those traits based upon the information we're learning, right? Like, it sounded like he wasn't in the best of mood. If you want to go back, I remember it was out. Seth said it out of his mouth when somebody had asked him. I think it might even have been on Dolly Vision, when I think Dolly Vision was the content creator he interviewed with shortly after finding out that there was a proof of life video. So I believe that was where he disclosed that his son didn't appear to be very happy. And now we're learning over the newest interview on his channel that it sounds like he didn't appear to be happy even before the dinner. So that, from everything I learned about autism, it seems to me that he was overstimulated and was exhibiting overstimulation even as soon as the Strikes and Spares location, you know? I don't know. Did you see the camp Dolly found yesterday, 7 to 10 miles from Sebastian's home? No. He says 5-7. Oh, it's just, I'm sorry, it's just Google. It's just Google Earth. It's just got all my stuff pinned. In my opinion, I hope he wasn't hidden under any foundation. Well, that kind of brings me to another, point. It's like this. Oops, please don't tell me my pen just fell down this. Yes, it did. Of course it did. The pen just fell down the side of the recliner. It's why would the crawl space be checked? I mean, I guess it's a place just to check or whatever. But again, why would Sebastian be found under a neighbor's car as well? And when did that event happen? Because that's kind of odd for me. Now, lights come from side of house is now it's time to find where they went. What was the crawl space? Okay, I did that. Did they came from that side of the house. So this was just a searching theory based upon, it's kind of how emails go sometimes, right? You get an email and then you start looking. Next thing you know, you're looking at something else. Next thing you know, you're looking at something else. And then I started looking at the placements of these cameras on the neighbor's home, and it started painting a very noticeable picture for how this child could have walked out of the house, but it ain't coming from the front of the house. Okay? It ain't coming from the front of the house. Now, I still don't believe this child walked out of the house. I don't believe he walked to the back of the home and jumped a fence either. But something is going on, and this would be the only place in that whole entire house that had literally no cameras on it. No cameras whatsoever. You wouldn't see a camera until you got to the other side of that field, which is where the lines are going. For those that'd like to see it, there you go. Right there. Which is about the guesstimate of where the vehicle was, the parked vehicle that Miss Bobby was referring to. All right, guys. Well, that's really all I have. That was like literally my entire afternoon's worth of work. It was a very exhausting and daunting task, to say the least, but it sucked me in. And I just wanted to know, if this boy left, if this boy, didn't leave on his own accord, how would either theory take place? And so I analyzed this and analyzed where the home cameras or home Ring doorbell cameras are. And after kind of pinpointing those, it has a clear area on that side of the house that would be completely obscured by any cameras. So if there was movement, which we know there was movement because the light video is evidence that there was movement on the outside of this house, how did nobody see them leave the house? And it appears that there's only one area of this entire yard, potentially two, where that could be possible. So take it for what you will. That's my 2 cents. Don't spend it all in one place. God bless each and every one of you. Thank you for coming and hanging out with me this evening. It was nice just getting those out. I'm interested in your comments. Don't forget to send me emails if you have some information, because I know sometimes when I do these shows, it starts percolating other ideas and thought processes in your own mind. Send that to bullhornbetty@gmail.com, bullhornbetty@gmail.com. I'm very interested in your commentary on this live and what your thoughts are. Everybody, I expect you guys to be respectful to one another. Debate the issues, not the people. All right, guys, rock it out with your coffee beans out. Don't forget to be fearless. Oh, wait. I got something. Oh, Gigi for Life gifted a Bullhorn Betty membership. Thank you. And our beautiful Grace Upon Grace has been a member for 5 months and says, could be Sebastian and KP with light CP waiting. Working theories. Let me know yours. bullhornbetty@gmail.com, bullhornbetty@gmail.com, or leave a comment on the replay. God bless each and every one of you. We will see you soon. We will see you soon.